Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's episode of the Butterfly Princess Bistro of Worldly Cuisine. This month, we're travelling to Portugal, and we're going to have a virtual three-course meal from Portugal. So we're going to have a starter, a main, and a dessert all from Portugal, and then we're going to have a drink also from Portugal. So first one is the starter. Now I've chosen this dish for the starter, which is called bacalhau. Now this is a fish dish, and it dates back from the latest evolutions of a long culinary legacy, and so it seeps in a lot of history. So it's a little known dish to those of us outside of the country of Portugal. This is why I wanted to tell you all about it today. So it started towards the end of the 14th century, so started towards the end of the 1300s. And it came about because the Portuguese Navy found the dried and salted fish could be stored for years. That's what it is. It's salted cod fritters. Well, in Portugal, it's called, the Portuguese name is Pastel Bacalhau. They discovered, the members of the Portuguese Navy discovered that dried and salted fish could actually be stored for years in holds, because we have like many holds within the ships. And this made it the perfect dish for sailors to enjoy who were going on long ship voyages. So during the mid-1500s, so the 16th century, this took place during the Portugal's maritime explorations, and when they went on these explorations, they actually went hunting to find the coast of India, and during that time they actually stumbled across waters that were rich in cod around the countries of Canada and Greenland. And this was a major discovery that kick-started Portuguese cod, and this actually started the love affair of the Portuguese fishing for cod. Cod is a type of fish. But of course, during the 16th century, so the 1700s, the 1500s, the Portuguese were actually pushed out of these regions by the French, and also they were pushed out by the English. So in the years, centuries that followed, the country of Portugal became heavily dependent on the countries of England, and they would serve as the main exporter of cod. And by the 1800s, so the 19th century, the ingredient was something enjoyed only by the aristocracy, so that was like the rich people who could afford to buy fish and eat fish. The popularity of the cod did actually expand in the 20th century during the reign of the Portuguese dictator called Angelo de Olivia Solhas, who wanted to bring it back to the homeland. And he was able, he was so passionate to bring this cod back to the homeland of Portugal that he launched a campaign called the cod campaign, and this campaign was launched in the year of 1934. And as a result of this campaign, thousands of Portuguese fishermen were sent to the countries again of Canada and Greenland to fish for cod. And they were very successful in bringing this cod back to Portugal. They actually brought back 900 tons of cod back from Canada and Greenland back to Portugal in boats. However, bringing the cod back from Canadian and Greenland shores were very hard and dangerous works, so they had to have a lot of manpower into it. Many of the men never made it back. They actually died during the expedition. And it's still a very hard-risk activity today. So that's the starter of our Portuguese menu. You've had so that for the start dish of our Portuguese menu, we've had a pastel bacalhau, which is a type of cod fish fritters from Portugal. Next, I'm going to talk about the main dish. 1 minute. Hello, everybody. So now that we've got this start dish out of the way, I would like to now introduce you to our main dish on our Portuguese menu for this month. And the dish that I've chosen for our main dish for our Portuguese style menu is a Portuguese dish called Francesinha. Now, this is a dish that's traditionally linked and associated with the Portuguese city of Porto. It is a very unique sandwich. I don't know if you can see that very clearly from the picture behind me, but I have got a picture of the dish behind me, and it's a dish that is a sandwich, so it consists of toasted bread, beef or pork sausages, ham and cheese, while the whole combination is then when it's put in a sauce that is beer infused tomato sauce. But so you don't, wherever you get the sandwich in Portugal, whether you get it in Portugal, from different parts of Portugal. But the Francesinha sandwich comes in very many different varieties. You can have it in that include mushrooms, chicken, and vegetables. So it's not just the dish Francaise. It's not just a typical sandwich where that you can eat on the go or eat at your desk while you're working. It's actually got to be enjoyed as a full wholesome meal, full wholesome sat down celebrated meal where you can eat it with family or friends or your partner or loved ones and so forth. Um, it's served very often than not in restaurants around Portugal. It is served as a unique, quite a nutritious dinner or evening meal dish. Um, um, and it was actually invented, the dish Francesa was actually invented. There's a story that goes, this dish was actually invented by um, a Portuguese immigrant called Daniel David de Silva, who was a Portuguese immigrant from France. Um, and he first served, and he was served this dish at a restaurant within Portugal, obviously. And he enjoyed it so much that he adapted his he enjoyed the sandwich so much so that he adapted his native French version with traditional Portuguese ingredients. With that is even to this day considered as one of the classics of the Portuguese realm of Portuguese cuisine. Um, so you can have the sandwich served with various sides such as salad or French fries, chips, or whatever. And like this picture behind me, it can be served. You get the sandwich, and then quite a popular accomplishment of this dish is a fried egg that is placed on the top of it. So that is it. That is it. That is it for the main dish. So next we're going to talk about the dessert. If you just hang on with me a sec. Um, Now for the dessert dish of our Portuguese themed menu for this month, I have chosen um the Portuguese tart, or what it's named in Portugal as it's known in Portugal as Pastel de nata. Now, when I was researching for this episode, because obviously each month, as you know, I do different episodes of different countries, and I choose a recipe of and I compile a menu that from that country, and I tell you about the history of the dish itself. Now, I've actually tried the Portuguese tart because my favourite holiday destination is which is I would love to visit mainland Portugal one time because I can speak quite good Portuguese. I wouldn't say I'm quite fluent yet, but I have a good understanding of a bit of the language. So I would like to visit mainland Portugal sometime during my lifetime, but I have visited on numerous occasions Madeira. Now, that is a Portuguese island. Now, that to me is a lovely part of the world, and it's got to be one of my favourite holiday destinations. And I actually tried one Portuguese tart of pastel de nata in a cafe in Madeira while I was on holiday there, and they're absolutely gorgeous. If you ever visit Portugal or wherever, if you visit Madeira, make sure you try a pastel de nata. You don't know what you're missing out on if you don't try it. So, what is a pastel de nata? Well, obviously it's a traditional custard tart because in English it translates as Portuguese tart. It's said that to get the best filling, result for the filling, it shouldn't be too sweet and should not have flavours of lemon nor vanilla. Instead, in order for you to get the full flavour and the have a unique, beautiful taste, you should it should be sparkled with cinnamon to add the extra, spice, and it's best served with a cup of coffee or cafe or the different types of coffees served in Portugal. For example, so we'll leave that there. So this sweet treat dates back from way before the 18th century, and it was produced by Catholic monks and nuns in the region, in some region, in a in a monastery located in Lisbon, because that is where the recipe of the Portuguese tart originates, in the capital city of Lisbon, which is they serve Portuguese tarts served in different parts of throughout Portugal and different parts of the world, but it is said that the recipe is a very unique recipe, and it's also a secret recipe. There are only a few people within Lisbon who know the exact recipe, and in order to get into the room, there's only a few people that know that have access to the room and know the exact ingredients. So there have been various different variations of pastel de nata within Portugal and throughout the world, but the original recipes dates back from Lisbon, and you will only get a true Portuguese tart in Lisbon, although I've got to say that the ones that I've tasted in Portugal, in Madeira, are pretty damn delicious. So the tart was made by these nuns and monks in monasteries from leftover egg yolks that were used in the cleaning of wine and starching of items of clothing. Um, um, the the clerics of the monastery struck a deal with a nearby bakery, start selling the pastel de nata commercially, and this resulted in the product of the pastel de nata being a huge success. Um, um, And I also read as well, for my research, just for a bit of extra on that, the the monks and the monks and nuns obviously decided as well to start selling these products because the monasteries weren't receiving any national funding, so they had to, they had to raise funds to keep the monastery open. So they raised funds by selling these products, but ultimately the monasteries closed anyway. Um, yeah. So the next one we're going to talk about is the drink. So 1 minute. Um, where's me? Where's me? Where? So, obviously, with each meal that I serve in the Butterfly Princess Bistro of Worldly Cuisine, the meal has to be accompanied by a drink from the country, and the drink that I've chosen to accompany our Portuguese style menu is Portuguese wine, or Madeira Madeira Wine. So here it goes. So I'm just going to tell you a bit. It is a falsified wine produced in the volcanic islands of and it ranges from dry wines that are typically served to the ones high on the sweet scale, which are usually enjoyed with desserts. Um, it can also be named after the four major styles of the grape variety that is used in the mix, from driest to sweetest. And depending on the styles, the wine may have simple or complex aromas. And this develops a fascinating range to choose from. And now I'm going to tell you a bit about the history of the Madeira wine. So it's the Madeira wine industry dates back to the age of exploration, where a lot of explorers explored the region that is now Portugal. Um, um, Madeira was, in them days, and still is, a regular port of call from ships, and these ships would be travelling to the East Indies, and by the 16th century, so the 16th century, the 15 so by the 16th century, so that would have been during the 1500s. Um, It's been estimated that a well-established industry was in place on the island, and these would supply the ships with various caskets of wine for the travelling crew. Um, um, and in the 18th century, so the 1700s, this century was what became known as a golden age for the island, for the Portuguese island of Madeira. This was because the popularity of the Madeira wine expanded from the American colonies and Brazil, so other parts of South America, to the New World, to Great Britain, Russia, and Northern Africa. The American colonies in particular were enthusiastic customers, consuming, they consumed, so Americans were very popular, were very eager customers, and they produced a staggering 95% of all wine produced on the island of Madeira each year. It was an important wine to the history of the US. No wine quality grapes were grown among the 13 colonies, so imports were needed with a great focus on the island of Madeira. And it played a massive role on the road to the American Revolution, in which Madeira played a key role, and that role was the seizure of John Hancock's sloop Liberty by Boston. Customs officials on the 9th of May 1768, Hancock's boat was seized after he had unloaded a cargo of 25 pipes of Madeira, and a dispute arose over import duties. And as a result, this caused a lot of riots to break out throughout Boston, the city of Boston. It was Madeira wine was a popular and favourite wine of Thomas Jefferson, who was a very famous figure in America. And it was used to toast the Declaration of Independence. And it was also it's also said to have been a popular wine amongst fellow Americans such as George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams. And Adams enjoyed the wine so much that he even wrote to his wife, who was a lady called Abigail, and he expressed the great qualities of Madeira wine to his wife. And yeah, so that's just a brief history and a brief outlook of Madeira wine. So that concludes this month's episode on Madeira of the Butterfly Princess Bistro of Worldly Cuisine. I hope you've enjoyed listening about my Portuguese inspired menu for this month. Join me again next month on the 7th of February, where we will be visiting another country through through a set menu from another country. So I hope you can join me then. But until then, have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.